Hey there guys, Raj here, and today's review is going to be on a fragrance from the brand Chanel. This one is for me, a standout fragrance in their entire lineup. Definitely in their men's lineup. This one is called Egoiste. This fragrance has been around for, I think, approaching 30 years now. And for me, it's definitely a classic, but it's certainly one of those that is unusual and certainly a unique fragrance. Not just within Chanel's lineup, and not just within men's mainstream designer fragrances, but just on the whole. It definitely is a fragrance for me that is one that I don't think I've ever smelled anything like Chanel Egoiste. So I've got a 100 ml bottle that I bought earlier this year, and I think I got this in around May, April, May earlier this year. The 100 ml bottle. It's a pretty almost like a brutish style bottle. Square shoulders, strong masculine appearance, quite plain. Certainly, it's very the scent does the talking before you instead of the packaging and the bottle and all that kind of stuff. And Chanel Egoiste is, I think, a reasonably priced fragrance for what you get in the UK at full price anyway. I mean, I have seen this on discounted websites. 100 ml is £64. So, yeah, not too bad actually for an eau de toilette. The notes in this one, in the top notes, there's mandarin and coriander. And then you get notes of Turkish rose, followed by New Caledonian sandalwood, vanilla from Madagascan vanilla, and Ambrette seed. It is described in many ways, almost oriental, woody, musky fragrance, and I think actually all of those pretty much describe Chanel Egoiste. So for me, this has a formality about it. This has a masculine, very, very masculine feel about it. This is, for me, a cooler, colder weather fragrance. I've worn this to work many times. I've worn it on some night out. So I remember when I actually bought this fragrance, I bought it at the airport here in London because I was on my way to New York. And on my first night out in New York, it was quite humid as it can be in New York, and I wore this one, but it was also raining, and it kind of worked quite nicely. I was going to like a rooftop bar, worked well in that type of scenario, as well as work as well. Even though I do wear this to work, I am a little bit more cautious with the number of sprays because it's quite a bold fragrance, but a couple of sprays underneath the clothing, underneath your shirt or your jumper or whatever, underneath your suit, actually I think works quite well. Performance is good on this one. For me, I probably get anywhere between 6 and 8 hours. If you spray on the chest area, it lasts a really long time. I've noticed that if I spray, behind the ears or on the back of the neck, it tends to fade away. I definitely don't pick it up. Maybe other people do. I don't really know. But it definitely has the ability to go on for maybe 8, 9, sometimes more than that, like the entire day. But it's only when sometimes when you stand up, you get a waft from underneath your shirt, underneath your jacket or whatever you're wearing. In the first couple of hours, it certainly pushes out, and then it's kind of like smooth sailing all the way through till the end. In the opening of this fragrance, and I've got a little bit, I did a fresh spray. The opening is quite tough to handle. It's definitely one of those for me that needs half an hour to really settle in, to just calm down actually, because the opening is quite an aggressive wood polish scent. It really smells like a piece of wood that's all shined up and polished, and you get that almost slightly chemically feel. It's a very synthetic fragrance in some ways to me, even though there are some nice what I perceive as authentic, not necessarily natural, but they smell like real things in real life. But there's also a strong synthetic element to me as well, and that's pretty much mainly felt in the opening. These woody aromas, this wood polish, as the polish starts to fade off, you do get this nice, really, really nice, creamy sandalwood in there, mixed in with a very actually quite fresh rose note, which is a nice combination, and it's great to see that in a men's fragrance as well. A nice bit of rose in there too. Can be actually quite a floral fragrance, and it's quite unusual actually. It definitely does stand out in the whole lineup of men's fragrances out there. It's definitely quite a unique scent. I think you definitely will stand out. So you have this kind of like woodiness, and then you get this powdery, almost powdery vanilla start to join the party. And it is actually adding a nice warmth, adding a nice depth. And you've got all these notes like co-mingling together. Really, really good. Quite musky, you know. There's some. It does smell like an older gentleman. It does smell like something that maybe your grandfather would wear or your dad would wear. But even today, I still feel it has a lot of relevance, and it still smells actually like you can wear this in today's times. I do feel that a slightly more mature crowd would probably gravitate towards this one. Yeah, pretty much. It's not a fragrance that I bought this actually. I used to have Chanel Egoiste a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. I sold it, and then one day I just went back to it, revisited it, and just picked it up in duty free. And now I feel like in my early 30s, it feels like a pretty good fragrance that kind of just, I think it just suits my overall sort of like style and like where I'm at. I'm just trying to see if I can pick up on anything else. That's pretty much it. The vanilla actually comes through and adds a nice element of sweetness, but it's not a pastry-like or like gourmand cake-like fragrance. It actually complements with the sandalwood perfectly, because sandalwood is, yes, woody, but also sandalwood can smell quite sweet. So this doesn't go overboard, but it's in a nice balance. Yeah, it can be quite a powerful fragrance. It is quite unique. It might take a little bit of time to get used to. I can actually see a lot of people not really pulling for this one and avoiding it completely, and maybe going for Platinum Egoiste, which is the more modern, it's certainly released more recently anyway, more mass appealing fragrance, whereas I don't really feel this has a mass appeal. I never have really so far from this bottle. I've used up a decent amount. I've never really got any compliments with this one, but that's not necessarily to say, that doesn't necessarily mean that people have disliked it. Sometimes, even in my experience as a fragrance enthusiast, I will smell somebody who smells nice, but I won't actually say anything to them, which is maybe a little bit weird. But yeah, this doesn't have the mass appeal of like a, like a Bleu de Chanel. Go for that if you want something. Go for something like an Allure Homme Edition Blanche, one of those, if you really want to like feel maybe a bit more comfortable when you're stepping out. If you're somebody who just doesn't really care, has maybe a more confident like persona, I think Chanel Egoiste would be a really good fragrance for you. Not to say that if you don't wear this you're not confident, but I think it takes a certain type of individual to wear Chanel's Egoiste. A rating for me of 9 out of 10. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this fragrance. Chanel Egoiste, whatever you have to say it. Check out my Instagram page. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.